All right, welcome back. Oh, whoops. All right, welcome back. Episode 124. Curtis is back. We had a couple weeks with Michael. Curtis is back. This
What
is, football is footballing right now. This is
up?
this is what we're looking at. This is 3 weeks to go. You know, these are the games that matter. They're the ones that really count. I
Oh
would
yeah,
say.
and it's that special time of the year where you get football on more days of the week than you don't have
Yeah,
football, and that's
that
always
means it's
good.
more football.
Exactly.
Even though it's the same amount of games, it's more football because there's more days of
Hashtag
football.
football math.
Yeah, football match.
Yeah.
Easy. But I guess before we talk about the games, you were at the Houston, uh, Houston versus Houston game. You
Yeah.
know, Houston Oilers versus the Houston Texans game. Let's just talk about the fan experience. I guess what's the fan experience like over at Nissan Stadium?
Well, first of all, Titans fans are very enthusiastic. The first quarter, they were like, "Oh man, these guys are they're going to win today." Is slowly but surely you could feel the temperature of the whole stadium change throughout the game, and by the end everybody was chanting "fu refs" and "fire Tim Kelly." So I mean that's about it. I mean, like, Tennessee fans, regardless of the sport and level of the sport, are kind of fair weather. The moment you're bad, they're like, just fire everybody and start again.
Yeah,
um
sounds like
so
the Jets or David Tepper.
yeah. It's as a Texans fan that's visited that stadium innumerable amount of times at this point, I try not to be the visiting fan that's a dick. Like, I'm not obnoxious. I'll do a couple of these. Good play, but like, I'm not an asshole.
Yeah,
I have been the guy that carries around a sign, mostly just shameless self promotion. Um, but beyond that, I mean, the people there are very nice. If you're ever thinking about going to a game, you just go. It's not like the most fancy stadium ever, but they tailgate pretty good.
they'll be tearing it down soon, anyways.
Oh yeah, and the new one will be real nice.
Yeah. Well, I got into a whole argument on Threads about because they released that the Super Bowl in 27 is going to go back to LA. Just disgusting to me. I absolutely despise that stadium. There's no character to it. It's one of those like very stereotypical futuristic stadiums that they try and make us get excited about.
Yep.
And there's no actual like team signage. You don't even feel like you're at a Rams or a Chargers game. You just feel like you're at like a bowl game in college. Like that's
Yeah.
pretty much it. You feel like you haven't unlocked any stadiums in Madden Ultimate Team, so you're just playing at like the most random stadium of all time.
Yeah.
That's what it's like. There's no character there, so because I love character in stadium. I think everyone kind of does. You don't
Yeah.
want a boring ass stadium where all the signs can be changed within 2 minutes, just like with a
Yeah.
click of a button. Like
Yeah.
obviously, I'd love to have Lambeau as a Super Bowl location. I know the snow. I know they'll never do it, but just a Super Bowl at Lambeau, that's pretty sick.
Yeah. I would have loved to have gone to the old Soldier Field, like
Yeah.
back when they had like the full on like columns as like a featured part of the stadium.
Yeah.
Now those columns are more decorative and they have seats on them, because they needed a bigger stadium, I guess. But the just history there, and it's outside, and I want more Super Bowls outside. I'm
Yeah, I
tired of
want that
this.
too.
I don't
I want
know.
one in Jacksonville too. That was my number. I think that might have been my number one non-winter, like somewhat realistic one
Yeah.
was Jacksonville.
Yeah. I mean, realistically, like, any of the teams in Florida or California would be Texas. Those
Yeah, they
stadiums
haven't
would
done it at
be,
Arlington in a long time at Jerry's World.
yeah. No, and they haven't done the Super Bowl in Houston since 2004. Well, wait, no, that's not right. Like
No, there
2000,
was one of
yeah, it
the
was like
Patriots ones, I think.
2000. Yeah, but that was a Patriots one too.
That was what?
The 2004 year was the year that the Patriots won the Super Bowl.
Let's
The
see.
that was the It was either the second of the 3 and 4 years or the third. I'm trying to remember how
They
they.
did Super Bowl LI.
Ah, yes, Roman numerals. Let's bring
Leave.
those back, huh? No.
Yeah, that was the last time they had it, which is like the doing the numeral thing I don't like either. Bring back the actual logos. Like the real logos they would change. Those were sick too.
Yeah,
What is wrong with the NFL? They don't know shit.
they're just getting lazier, and they're like, "How can we do this quicker and get the point
Yeah.
across?"
Yeah.
Let's
They're
just
just
have a
like,
guy.
oh, here's the numbers.
Yeah, here's a guy. He's just going to be awkward as hell, stare at the camera, and read from this piece of paper we just gave him.
Yeah, that's it. All
Yeah.
right. Well, let's do a wheel spin.
Ooh.
Just got to make sure I take down the time here. So roughly about 6 minutes, I would say. Okay. Here we go. Very exciting.
Oh, big money.
Okay, AFC West games. Any game that took place in the AFC West.
Well, the Chiefs squeaked by the Patriots today, and I say
Let's
squeaked
see.
by.
Oh, well, we got to start with the Thursday game because that was
Uh,
Raiders Chargers AFC West
yeah,
battle.
if you want to call it that. Do you want to lead off on that one, or do you want me to go?
I'll lead. I'm just so happy Brandon Staley got fired. I
I
don't.
was going to say the same thing.
I have no clue how he could have kept his job at that point. It's disgusting. It would be a travesty to the NFL if a coach who has been so bad, who has already blown a 27-point halftime lead in the playoffs to the Jaguars of all franchises, and then kept his job. And then Justin Herbert gets hurt, and then you would think, hey, maybe they have the new coach bump or the new quarterback bump. Sometimes it's a little bit more energy when the quarterback goes down, but it did the opposite. I mean, I thought the Raiders might have put up 80 points if they really tried.
They definitely took the foot off the pedal at a certain point.
Yeah, and they actually waited a long time to take the foot off the pedal, which I like. AP, Antonio Pierce, was like, no, we're going to keep going. Keep putting the foot on the gas. Get this fucking guy out of here. Get him fired. He was like the most entitled and just whiny coach I've ever seen. Honestly, just we're not going to fix the defense. Why would we fix the defense? Our defense was fine. It did well, and they gave up 100-something yards on the ground and 300 to Jordan Love and the Packers, who clearly are not that great.
Yeah,
it's disgusting to me. It's disgusting to me.
Yeah, I'm kind of surprised that ownership didn't fire the GM and Brandon Staley at halftime.
Yeah.
I mean, this was a team that the Raiders didn't even score last week. And then they come in. Was that a home game for the Raiders, or was that
a home game? It was a 3-0 game in a dome on natural grass. I think natural grass. Pretty sure it's natural grass.
Yeah.
And they still couldn't do anything.
Yeah. And then they come in and play the Chargers, and not only are the Chargers flat, not only are they lifeless, you can tell that they are done. Like the players have quit. The moment Herbert got hurt, I assume that half the team was just like, well, we got that stick guy now. That's not going to help anything. Playoffs are not happening.
Should have played hockey.
That's what at least 3 people on the team said. But good God, the Chargers needed to move on from him. Like, I don't know, like somebody in a bad relationship. It was just a toxic situation.
I'll say this. When they played that Week 18 game in 21, and the Raiders had the ball in overtime, because, it would have been a tie that would have sent them to the playoffs, and he takes that timeout to try and get the ball back from the Raiders in overtime. That moment should have fired him, because it looked like the Raiders were going to lie down and say, yeah, let's tie. We'll take the lower seed, but we'll both go to the playoffs.
Yeah.
That should have been the moment where he gets fired, because I don't care that it's year one. I don't. That is mismanagement. And then obviously he has the blown lead. He should have been fired after that. They didn't fire him. And at least they fired him now, when it was literally impossible to say, what redeeming quality does he have as a coach at that point?
Yeah.
Nothing.
None. Literally none. There's no excuse in the NFL to let up 60 plus points. Sean Payton got a little bit of a buffer on that one because he's a first-year coach with the Broncos, and he made it publicly known that the team was pretty soft. So, sorry, I heard my son. Pardon me.
Oh, you're good.
Got a little squirrely. What were we talking about?
We were talking about Sean Payton.
Oh, yeah. I mean, like, there's only 2 teams this season that have allowed 60-plus points in a game.
Yeah.
And, Sean Payton gets the buffer because it's his first year with this team.
Yeah.
And they've clearly turned it around significantly from that time. Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't think they're necessarily a good team, but they're definitely
they're somewhat in the race right now. They are in the race. They're not even somewhat.
Yeah. Yeah. What are they? Are they in the playoffs or are they in the hunt?
No, they're the 11th seed right now. They're 7-7.
Okay.
They're a game back with 3 to go. It's possible. The Colts have collapsed, and that could open up a spot. Well, they could collapse down the stretch. That's what we do post Andrew Luck.
Yeah.
But I do have good news for Raiders fans. You're averaging 31.5 points per game in the last 2 weeks. So congrats to you guys, right? That's a win. That is a win.
And just think, if they'd only managed to score a point somehow, that average would be a little bit higher.
Yeah.
Just a touch.
A tad. Just a tad. It would be half a point higher.
Yeah. We'll be looking at 32.
They could have
31.
The what's never happened but the 1-point safety. I would have loved to have that happen in that game. It's never happened in an NFL game.
Is that basically a safety where the quarterback runs from doing a 2-point conversion and gets tackled?
Anytime there's a safety on the 2-point conversion.
Yeah.
So Colts Titans a few weeks ago, it was possible. Somebody was running down whoever picked it off. He was trying to smack it out of his hand. It was very possible.
Yeah. That would have been cool.
Yeah. Alas, we couldn't get it. The NFL couldn't give it to us.
No.
That's how I know it's not scripted. They would have given it to us. That's a legendary moment.
Yeah. Unless they're just trying to tease you with it, like wrestling. Like they kind of tease that somebody's going to, shoot up the ladder, and then all of a sudden they do, and everybody's like, what?
Yeah, that's true. That's very possible. The NFL, they could know how to write a script well to get the audience.
Yeah. We keep coming back no matter how bad our team is.
That's true. That's very true. Lions Broncos Saturday night football. I mean, the Broncos just kind of got bullied, and the Lions woke up. I think a lot of people came into this thinking the Lions were dead, and I think Dan Campbell was very disrespected.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah, pretty sure Sean Payton said that he wanted to embarrass Dan Campbell. I remember
that's Dan Campbell.
I know. That's literally clipboard material right there. That goes up in the locker room, and you're like, this is what they're saying about you.
Mm-hmm.
I've had many a coach do that. I remember them talking about that during the broadcast, that Sean Payton had said that he was trying to embarrass Dan Campbell this week. And instead, he got embarrassed. Was it 49-13?
40-17. I had a friend who had the under of 49, and I was like,
oh,
damn dude.
Mm-hmm.
Picked the wrong one. Lions almost covered on their own.
Yeah, for real.
Yeah.
Sucks.
Also, we forget that Dan Campbell played for Sean Payton.
Yep.
With the New Orleans Saints.
Yep.
I don't know why Sean Payton would say something like that about a former player, to be honest.
I don't know either, but Sean Payton's been on one this season. Like, I've never heard him just openly badmouth a coach.
Yeah.
In any respect. And then this year, he's just like, the guy who had it last year was a moron. I'm going to Dan Campbell's house. I'm embarrassing. I'm like, what? I don't know. Maybe he was taking some steroids or something, because there's clearly some more testosterone flowing, more than just the juices that man be chewing.
and especially that he hasn't won a Super Bowl since 2009.
Yeah.
Everyone's high on the Sean Payton train, but he had Drew Brees, and he had Alvin Kamara, and he had Michael Thomas, and that's naming the most recent great team that he had. We're not even talking about those earlier teams, and he only won one Super Bowl with them.
Yeah.
And I don't care about the no pass interference. I don't care about that. He still couldn't get it done.
Yeah.
Couldn't get it done.
Yeah, that's true though.
Yeah.
I mean, I think at that time, I'm trying to remember all the other, like, while they were in their heyday with Sean Payton. So that was 2 years with Brady as a Buck, 3 years, 2 or 3 years with Brady as a Buck.
I think they only had. I think he was only there. He wasn't there last year. That was Dennis Allen.
Okay, yeah, you're right. 2 years with Brady. Aaron Rodgers was a problem. The 49ers have been a problem for everybody for a while. Like, just it seems like every year we write them off, and then they're just right back in the situation.
Yeah.
Trying to think, there was some other NFC teams at that time that were like, the Kurt Warner led Cardinals.
Well, and the Packers as well.
Yeah,
Packers were a problem.
Yeah, and between them and a random Panthers year, I mean, like, they had some pretty stiff competition then. I feel like those teams, with the exception of maybe the random Panthers year, I feel like those teams were all pretty much like always in the conversation. Whereas now the NFC exclusively runs through the 49ers and the Eagles.
Yeah. Maybe Dallas. Although we'll talk about that game, but that was
we'll get there.
Oh my God. All right, Chiefs Patriots. Kadarius Toney. I saw somebody say Kadarius Toney will make it onto the plane, but he will not land with the team after his little performance today. I equated it to Cam Newton when he didn't go after the fumble in the Super Bowl. That little interception that Kadarius Toney caused, he literally just runs off. He's just like, fuck, I dropped it again. He's like, shit, I fucked up, man. I'm sorry. He doesn't even know that there's an interception and then a fumble after that. So, Kadarius Toney better be cut tomorrow. I'm going to assume he's going to be cut, although I know Andy Reid said something about I still have faith in him. We're still going to give him a shot, which is crazy. I can't imagine why.
Well, if I'm not mistaken, they traded a decently high draft pick to get him because he was in his second year, maybe, with the Giants when they traded for him.
Yeah.
So I think they traded like a first or a second round draft pick for him.
Something like that. Yeah, I mean, they gave up a lot, and he was great at Florida, and I know his first year, like, really sucked, and then he was okay his second year. He did pretty well, and then it's just been, I mean, Mahomes doesn't trust him. Mahomes on the sideline was screaming at his coach. He was like, I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to do. You know?
Yeah.
Travis Kelce dropped one in the end zone today. We don't even talk about that. He dropped a touchdown in the end zone that resulted in a field goal. This game shouldn't have been a game. I mean, this Patriots team really shouldn't compete with anybody except for the Jets, maybe the Titans, like literally like the bottom class of the league they should be competing with. And for some reason, the Chiefs just let them into this game. They let them play a game today.
Yep. I don't know what it is. Maybe Bill Belichick's just got a couple more tricks up the sleeve or something, or maybe he's just giving everybody a little bit of the juice right before games, and he's just like, all right, guys, this is the secret water. I stole it.
Nobody believes in us. Maybe he's doing the nobody believes in us speech.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean,
they all
I don't know what this.
Have you? Sorry, are you good?
Oh no, I just don't know what's going on in this Chiefs locker room. I mean, this is unprecedented territory for Mahomes, and everyone's gonna get on him about that little fucking tantrum that he threw. But I'm going to be honest. That was me, and I can't direct my hatred towards Kadarius Toney. I probably would have thrown some sort of tantrum. Maybe not specifically at a ref, but I would have been pretty pissed because like he's endured a lot this season dealing with that team that he has.
Yeah.
Because I mean, can you imagine being Patrick Mahomes? You finally have the defense that you really need, like that you wanted, because the defense has always been kind of a problem. Like I think if you think back to 2018 and you told Patrick Mahomes his defense would be like a top 5 unit, he'd be like, "Oh my God, how many Super Bowls are we going to win? Like, how many Super Bowls did we win in a row? Did we win 2, 3, 4, 5? Like, because their offense was crazy good with Tyreek. Obviously, Tyreek is that big missing piece, but
I just think it's literally anybody with some hands. Do you remember those? There was a probably about a 4 or 5 year stretch when Brady was still in New England, where they would bring in like their number one wide receiver would be like an old guy who's like 33 or older when they bring him in. Like, it was like Brandon Lloyd. They'd bring in like Dante Stallworth, and they would win games with guys who were over the hill or undrafted. I think in that time frame is when they found Edelman. Like,
well, there was the Welker years
after the Welker era.
Yeah.
Like, so I think a lot of teams saw that and they were like, "Oh man, Brady's that kind of guy. He can make anybody look, amazing." Manning could do that. Peyton Manning could do that pretty damn well himself.
Yeah. I mean, Andrew Luck made T.Y. Hilton who he was. I'll say that. I mean, T.Y. did nothing. It was literally a storyline in the 19 season where T.Y. wasn't doing anything with Brissett or with Phillip Rivers.
Yeah. Yeah, and then definitely true. A quarterback can really make a wide receiver, and sometimes you've got guys like DeAndre Hopkins who it doesn't matter who's throwing the ball. The problem that the Chiefs have is they have one guy that they can rely on to catch the ball 90% of the time, and that's Travis Kelce. Everybody else, they are. I think before this week's game, they were number 2 in drops in the NFL by wide receivers, only behind the Houston Texans.
Oh, well,
yeah.
Two teams with winning records as well.
Yeah.
Bizarre. That makes no sense.
Yeah.
I'm going to say this about Kelce.
Go ahead.
Kind of washed. He's looking like he's afraid to take hits at this point.
I don't think he's necessarily washed. I think it's a similar situation to what Derrick Henry's in. Derrick Henry's got nothing around him at all. It's literally Will Levis, DeAndre Hopkins, and Derrick Henry. Everybody in the offensive line is either a rookie or a scrub, and they're trying. They're trying so hard, but good Lord, they're just not. It's not it. And I think it's the same exact situation with Travis Kelce. He looks worse because everyone else around him is worse. Because he's being relied upon more, we're seeing more of his faults. If that makes sense.
Yeah. I mean, the way he runs now, he doesn't run because he wasn't always like a violent runner per se. Like Gronk was a violent runner. Like we all remember what Gronk looks like when he runs. I would have stepped out of the way. I would have made a business decision and just let him go. Kelce, he's like a train. Like it's like a train, and he just doesn't have enough ground to ever really like speed up to his full speed. That's almost what it feels like now. Because before he was running kind of like a wide receiver where, I mean, he would be able to get speed very quickly. Gronk was the train, but he was fucking powerful. There was so much more powerful behind it. And Kelce just doesn't seem to have that power behind him anymore. And his age, like, how old is he? He's got to be in his 30s.
He's 33 or 34.
Yeah, so he's not exactly young, especially for a tight end.
Yeah, no. I mean, I think he actually said something about retirement this season.
Yeah, he mentioned it. Well, Gronk's 34, and he hasn't. That's actually crazy. Gronk is 34 years old, and Kelce is 34, and Gronk hasn't been in the league 2 years.
Yeah,
is that right?
Yeah, he didn't play last. Yeah,
yeah. So even when he did play 2 years ago, he wasn't Gronk.
Yeah, no,
at all.
Oh, I mean, that man's had more reconstructive knee surgeries than people
And
laying.
that elbow thing, he just like I exclusively remember him with the elbow brace.
Yeah, it's hard to remember the clear elbow. Same
Yeah.
thing with JJ Watt towards the end. He used to never wear any sort of bracing on his arms, and then I don't know what he did. Maybe like dislocated his elbow, and then ever since then he was just always wearing that thing.
I remember that. I remember when he started really wearing it. I
Yeah,
mean, that was when his career didn't go downhill. It just, you could kind of tell. It
yeah.
was like
Oh,
starting, it was hitting a little bit of that twilight.
there you can actually pinpoint the game that his career started to decline. It was a Texans Kansas City Chiefs night game. Um, and he and Whitney Merciless both got hurt in consecutive plays on the same drive. So Whitney Merciless like tore his ACL or something, tore his biceps, I think.
Mhm.
And then JJ Watt the next play like messed up his spine somehow
Yeah.
and had back surgery. He was never the same after that. He had one decent year after that and was never ever able to regain JJ Watt status.
Mhm. All right. Well, that's the AFC West. Let's spin the wheel again. I think we're gonna pick it up a little bit. I say that every single week, that we're like on like game 4 or 5, and I'm like, okay, we got to pick it up now, because we just you just get into it. You're just talking.
Yeah, big money, big
All
money.
right.
No whammies, no whammies. Stop.
NFC North, and
Stop.
wait, hold on. Actually, yeah, it was like sitting right here. Okay, NFC North. What do we got? What do we got going on? All right. Well, we talked about Lions, Broncos. Where are we at? I can't.
Bears, Browns,
Yeah, Bears, Browns.
Packers, Bucks.
So the Bears are not back.
No,
The Bears
no,
are not back.
and
We
and
thought maybe a little bit
no,
last week.
no, no.
Not happening.
There were so many people before the season started in my ear on Twitter, just like Justin Fields is going to be MVP candidate this season. It's like, dude, he can't stay healthy. He's definitely gotten better at throwing.
Yeah.
I'm going to give him credit where it's due. He's gotten a lot better. But now it seems, because last year the excuse was there was no weapons. Now it seems as though the offensive line is the problem. When last year, and even this year, he's number one in the NFL in time to throw. It was like Patrick Mahomes and Justin Fields were 1 and 2.
Yeah.
And in throws of 2.5 seconds or more.
I just think it's got to be something with the Bears and their uniforms when it just comes to quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Especially like running quarterbacks. That is not their style of offense. It just doesn't work for them whatsoever. At all.
It looks weird when it
Yeah.
happens in a Bears uniform.
It just doesn't look right. We need a pocket passer, basically a Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
We need Flacco. And speaking of Flacco, the guy's elite. Let's just put that to bed. He led another game-winning drive. The Browns they're the cardiac Browns. Scott Hansen said it best today on Red Zone.
Yeah.
They're the cardiac Browns. It is insane just what this team is able to do consistently, that you feel like they're dead and then they're just back like that. Joe Flacco was down 17-7, led them down to a field goal with 12:27 left in the fourth. Punt. Browns get the ball back. Joe Flacco leads them down to score a touchdown with 3:08. Punt, and then Joe Flacco again with 32 seconds leads them down and kicks the game-leading go-ahead field goal. I mean, it's typical Joe Flacco. This is we shouldn't be shocked that Joe is showing his eliteness right now.
No. I mean, this is why you bring in dudes like Joe Flacco, just in case break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah.
Bring in the old guy who's been around the block. He's got a ring. Yeah. And then Joe Flacco's they have one of the best teams in the NFL. All Joe Flacco has to do is just not fuck up.
And he doesn't, I don't really remember him ever fucking up badly. He would, his thing is like either hilarious deep ball interception, touchdown, or pass interference. He's great at that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's his thing.
Yeah.
And it would be hilarious. I mean, we can't let him get away with it again for him to win 2 Super Bowls.
Well,
we can't let him win 2 Super Bowls.
He kind of looks like what was the quarterback's name in Friday Night Lights, the movie?
Dwight
Yoakam. Is that guy?
I don't remember his. You mean? Hold on. Am I thinking of? Oh, I'm thinking of Varsity Blues, right? That's Moxon, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe I didn't see Friday Night Lights the movie.
Okay. Well, first of all, watch that movie. Second, he looks like a slightly more Dracula version of that guy. Like if Joe Flacco is like if the quarterback from Friday Night Lights and Nosferatu had a baby, it was Joe Flacco.
Apparently, they're making a Nosferatu movie
again,
which I only knew him from SpongeBob. There was one episode of SpongeBob, the hash slinging slasher episode. That they have Nosferatu come in.
Nosferatu was the first movie, like ever.
Oh my!
Yeah, like it's
that's hilarious.
The first, maybe not first full on movie because I guess you would count the, silent movies or whatever. But Nosferatu was like 1920 something, and it might have been like the first horror movie ever made.
Yeah, I just know him from
SpongeBob.
From the hash slinging slasher episode, and he keeps flickering the lights to scare everyone. That's all he does. And they just go Nosferatu. That's it. That's all I know him from.
Classic.
I'm clearly showing my age.
No, I mean I wasn't alive in the 1920s, so.
Well, obviously, yeah.
Yeah.
And then also the Darnell Mooney Hail Mary that he just bounced off the ground. First off, I don't want to hear anyone saying, "Oh, he definitely should have caught that. He's a pro." Listen, if you're falling and you like your ass hits the ground like full force, it's impossible to hold on to a catch there. I mean, obviously it's possible. We see it all the time, but especially on a Hail Mary, you really don't expect the ball to get to you.
Yeah,
I wouldn't blame Darnell Mooney. Although I did scream, "You motherfucker, why don't you hold on to the fucking ball" as soon as it happened, because the Colts needed the Browns to lose.
Yeah. Yep. Fucking Browns.
I know.
Yeah,
this is like the exact opposite of the Browns.
Yeah.
They lose these games normally.
No, oh yeah.
They're going to win the Super Bowl. And it's not even funny. They're going to win the Super Bowl.
They'll win the Super Bowl, and it'll be like the most ugly game. Joe Flacco.
It'll be a Joe Flacco game.
Yeah.
We know it's going to be a Joe Flacco game. And they're going to win the Super Bowl. It's disgusting that that's how it's going to happen. Everything has gone. Super Bowl.
I'm calling it.
Yeah. Browns. Well, that's an unstoppable force versus an immovable object right there.
Yeah.
Who can lose the game in the most heartbreaking of ways? It'll be a fumble on the goal line off. It'll be inside of 2 minutes. The Browns are going to get down there. You think they're going to score. They're going to fumble on the goal line. Detroit's going to pick it up, drive back down there real quick, fumble on the goal line, and they're just going to keep going back and forth until the fifth overtime. And the NFL is just going to say, "We need to pick this up tomorrow. We can't finish this tonight.
We've run out of
6 a.m.
Yeah.
We've run out of ads to run. That really crappy NBC news show, whatever, The Masked Singer. We have to put The Masked Singer on at some point."
Yeah. Oh God.
We're actually gonna start showing the Super Bowl on NFL Network now, the finale, because The Masked Singer has to come on after the Super Bowl.
Woof.
Yeah. Holy shit. I said we were gonna try and fly through and we didn't. Bucs Packers. The Packers are dead. They're dead. And the Buccaneers are, I mean, they're not dead, but they kind of are. I don't know. They're not going to do anything. They would be the most fun. I hope they win the NFC South because they're the most fun team out of the NFC South, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Well, I just want to remind Packers fans of this. Aaron Rodgers' first year, they went 5-11. He's allowed to fuck up. He's allowed to have growing pains. Just they already signed into a 1-year extension or whatever. So like, just breathe.
Yeah.
Let them build because they have a decent wide receiver core. They're young. I mean, they're literally the youngest team in the NFL. And and then the Bucks. God, the Bucks. Here's my prediction for the Bucks. They're going to do one more year of Baker Mayfield, and they're going to do worse than they did this year. And everybody's going to be like, "Why did we do that? Why did we give Baker another shot?" And I'm telling you right now, don't do it. Just don't. Like, you don't. That future doesn't have to be set in stone.
Yeah,
but you're probably going to make it true. Just stop.
Yeah,
just put down the bottle. You're fine.
Just stop it. Get some help.
Get some help.
Get some help. And then we forgot about Vikings Bengals as well.
Vikings Bengals.
I gotta be. I mean, I've seen some Colts like Instagram accounts. They were cursing the Vikings for losing this game because the Colts needed the Bengals to lose. I absolutely hate blaming other teams, like when you need them to lose or win, whatever, or blaming the refs.
Yeah,
those are outside forces. Basically, you cannot rely on outside forces to work for you. You just can't. Win your fucking games. That's it. Yeah. Just win your games. I have to say that. And refs, I will always say this. You don't deserve to win the game if you let a referee's blown call decide the game for you.
Yeah.
It was about, I mean, I got into a massive argument about this. I said, some people don't have the football intelligence to zoom out and see the whole game for what it is. Football intelligence is not smart. People think I was like trying to look down on them, being like, "Oh, you little, shit, you don't know football." No, you don't have to be smart to have football intelligence. But if you just can't zoom out and say, "I'm going to look at the whole 60 minutes and not this 10-second period in the game that we fucked up," like Patrick Mahomes threw an opening drive interception against the Bills last week. If he doesn't throw that, they might score, and then they don't even have to worry about Kadarius Toney.
Yeah.
Or a fumble in the third quarter, or XYZ. What about a drop?
Or an offsides on the offense.
Yeah, or an offsides on the offense. I mean, they also know that the refs have been missing a lot of calls. So why are you trying to rely on the refs to make the right call in that moment?
Yeah.
They already know. That's your own fault. It's their own fault. So
yeah.
I didn't want to get too much into the Bengals. The Vikings, thanks for coming out. It was fun.
Yeah. I think everybody stopped caring once the Pasternaut was put on the bench.
Nick Mullins' kid also looked like the most uninterested kid of all time in the stadium. He was on his iPad. Like he was sitting there on his iPad.
Dad's playing a game. Yeah, me too.
Dad never gets into the NFL. He's actually starting a game. Yeah, but this kid is opening a toy on YouTube. So
I'm gonna have to watch this 4 hour.
I need to study this film. I'm getting ready for Christmas. I need to study this film.
Look at the technique. He's just
Ryan's World is showing me how to open gifts. I need to watch that over my own father playing football.
You want to find the tape and then just
yeah. I mean, the Vikings, they found a way to lose that game a million times over. I'll just point. I mean, there's so many other times we could, but we're pressed for time. We're already at 40 minutes. The quarterback, the double quarterback sneak on 3rd and 1 and 4th and 1. No creativity there. Just I get the quarterback sneak on 3rd and 1, but you don't get it. So then just literally a double reverse jet sweep would have been better than another quarterback sneak.
Yeah. I think sometimes there's coaches that get too caught up in the trying to play like tic-tac-toe with the opposing coach.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, my predictability is this, blah, blah, blah. Let's go against the grain here. And then they end up kind of like boxing themselves into a stupid corner. And that's, I think, what that was. Oh, they're never going to expect 2 quarterback sneaks in a row. Well, they did. They definitely did. And
Yep.
you did that to them.
And their running back was a stud.
Yeah.
All game, he was a stud. I'm going to pull up his
Ty
name,
Chandler?
actually. I'm going to honor him.
Ty Chandler.
Ty Chandler. 132 yards, average 5.7 yards per carry, and a touchdown.
Yeah, he played at the University of Tennessee before he transferred for his senior year at North Carolina. Dude is fast. He was fast as hell in college. Loved watching him play. We'd use him as kind of like a screen scat back kind of guy. And my God, it was fun watching him play. It sucked that he transferred out. But I'm also very hyped that he's finally getting a shot. 'Cause if I'm not mistaken, he was initially taken by the Panthers too. And then ends up in Minnesota. So, I mean, hype on that.
I was saying that Kevin O'Connell, if he wins that game and if they go to the playoffs, I think he's coach of the year. The amount of turmoil that they have.
Yeah.
Now he's not. Just those decisions on top of just losing that game, he's not the coach of the year anymore. I think Zach, whatever the hell the Bengals coach, Zach Taylor, I think he could have a case now. People are saying Shane Steichen, kind of. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
There were some games that we could have won earlier in the season that he kind of took away. So,
yeah, I feel that.
But I think D'Amico Ryans has more of a case than Steichen. But I don't know. We'll see how I think it's going to be decided in the last 3 games. This is where it's really decided.
Yeah.
So, the Colts actually find a way to win? Maybe. All right. Let's do our spin. That's big money. I wonder, what do I want here? I kind of want to talk about Taylor Swift, but let's see.
What happens if we hit something we've already talked about?
Well, I erase it, so we just go to the division that's next, or the division that's next to it. So we're gonna do AFC North. The AFC North here.
Steelers.
Oh,
the Browns. The Ravens are playing right now.
So we'll talk about the Ravens.
And the
like
Bengals.
like both. Yeah, just talk about like the first half more than anything. But the Colts defeat the Steelers. They break that curse. It's been since 2008 since they have beaten the Steelers in a regular season game or in the playoffs. I mean, the Steelers are just so bad. I don't. They're not good. They're not a good football team. There's nothing for me to really be like, we won. Like, obviously, we broke that curse. So that's fun. But they're not a good football team at all. I'm not like dancing on their graves because we beat Mitch Trubisky. And their wide receivers have quit on them so much.
Yeah.
They just quit.
Yeah, the more I listen to Isaiah on my show talk about how George Pickens just isn't that guy, the more I see it. There are a lot of times he's like taking plays off, and Deontay Johnson's realistically more of a number 2 at best. And then you've got Najee Harris, who's underperforming. Kenny Pickett is maybe the baby hands is an actual issue, and we're just not giving it enough credit. But look, even with all that, this Steelers team is, outside of a few names, pretty devoid of talent.
Their defense is still pretty good. I mean, obviously, TJ Watt is a monster.
But TJ Watt,
he's not healthy.
Patrick, those 2 guys are really the big, and Casey Hayward.
Yeah.
Those are the big 3 on their defense. And who do you say is the big 3 on the offense? Pickens, Harris, and Pickett? Woof. Like, hard pass.
What is there? I mean, I love Pickens coming out of college, and last year I was like, I drafted him this year because I was like, oh man, I think this guy's gonna be really good. He's got a lot of physicality, but just nothing.
Yeah. So even with that, I think that the Steelers having as many wins as they do with the amount of talent on the team, I think that's a hats off to Mike Tomlin more than it is to anything else. The dude
Yeah.
consistently gets the absolute best out of whatever players are on his team. Didn't work this week or last week, but I guess it's pretty hard playing the AFC South this year. Pretty sure
The
we all
amount,
Steelers.
the amount of just shit that guy has to deal with for
Dude,
the last 10 years. I mean, he had to deal with Big Ben and his porn addiction. He had to deal with Antonio Brown doing
God,
numerous things that were behind the scenes too, that he kept quiet for so long.
Le'Veon Bell.
Le'Veon Bell sitting out. I remember like the 2018 season.
Yep.
2018? Yeah, that was 2018. I
Yeah.
remember that we had the Hurricane Irma hit Florida, and I remember like I remember getting the notification after I had already drafted Bell on our fantasy draft. And we were like sitting in like the house that we were staying at because of the hurricane and getting that notification. So I'll never forget that. And then now he has to deal with Deontay Johnson, who has been like, you would think he was going to be like the quiet guy, especially at that good year with Big Ben in 2020. And it was like, okay, this is going to be like the new guy here. And then, I mean, what's his name? James Conner. They couldn't get him to stay. I don't think he didn't really cause that much of an issue, right?
I don't know if James Conner was so much an issue as he was just hurt a lot for the Steelers.
Yeah.
And he's been more available for the Cardinals, but just barely.
Yeah. And then they had Juju Smith-Schuster literally dancing on logos during their winning streak.
Yep.
And then everyone was clowning the guy. And they were also, I love talking about that team because they were the worst 11-0 team of all time, literally of all time. And then they lost 6 straight after as soon as they hit 11-0. Insane that they did that. It was hilarious. But I feel for Tomlin. I still think he's a great coach. Obviously, I mean, he hasn't amounted to what they really expected him to do.
Yeah.
Because Steelers just don't get rid of head coaches. I think it's time for both sides to just part ways and do their own things.
I don't think so. I think Tomlin should be there for a while yet. I think that it's not necessarily an issue with his team building. I think it's more of an issue of scouts looking for the wrong thing or whatever, and bringing in dudes who are not a team first kind of guy. And that's what Tomlin needs. That's the kind of coach that he is. It's a team first mentality. Let's go punch people in the nose and win hard nosed games by playing phenomenal defense and run the ball on offense. That's literally Steelers football to a T.
When was the last time they had a big free agent signing? Like a major contract that they paid real money for?
I would say the biggest move that they've made lately is the trade for Minkah Fitzpatrick. Because that was like a first or two.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I remember, they traded away we forgot to mention Claypool on the
the
list of dysfunction.
Yeah.
He's literally like Miami's treating him like a tight end now, and I don't even think he's doing anything. They called him a refrigerator.
Yeah.
He's so vague. Yeah. Poor Tomlin, man. Poor Tomlin. I feel for the guy. Steelers fans hate him.
I don't know why.
I would love to have him. I think there's 20 teams in the league right now that would take him as a head coach.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
I think maybe even you. And you're a Houston fan, and DeMeco Ryans is great, but you don't know what the future holds for him. Tomlin is consistency, at least.
Yeah, that's true.
At the very least, he's consistent. So, Ravens, Jags. Boy, do I need the Ravens tonight, baby. Do we need the Ravens tonight?
Yeah. Well, I think even if the Jags lose tonight, you guys are still a half game back.
Well, even
if the Jaguars win or lose,
if they lose, they have the tiebreaker with us.
Yeah.
Because they won the season series, but we'll be tied record wise, so we'll be a game back. Really like a game back,
Yeah.
And I think I want to say they have the tiebreaker over you guys based on some sort of weird thing. Tiebreakers are getting weird because the Colts somehow were in the playoffs this past week after they went down to 7-6, but everyone was at 7-6. So then it went to conference record because all these different tiebreakers they couldn't figure out.
Yeah.
Weird.
Conference. Well, it's conference, non-conference, mutual, and your road and home losses.
They need to somehow find a way. I'm living for this day when we can get the coin flip for playoff seeding, where it's televised. You know, the NFL would turn it into a whole thing. They would turn it into, they'd have a pregame show, or they would have a pregame show. They'd have a pregame show. They would, I mean, they would have an app for it. They would be like, we're going to put together an app for the coin flip. We need the coin flip.
Yeah. They'll make specific merch for it.
Yeah. They'll have like, I'm team heads, I'm team tails.
Yeah.
It would turn into Team Edward and Team whatever from those stupid
movies. Yeah. From those gay books.
Whatever, movies, books, whatever. I have no clue. And then the Ravens. I mean, there's no dominant team, I think, in this league. There really isn't. I don't even think you can really say that the Niners are a dominant team. They're on a dominant stretch right now, but they can very easily kind of find themselves not good again. If they lose one of those guys, if they lose one of those key pieces again. Like we saw what happened when they lost Trent Williams and Debo, and that's not out of the question to lose those guys. And they're the most dominant team this year. So like I don't really believe in anybody. That's why like when somebody asks me, who do you think is going to win the AFC this year? I'm like, I genuinely have no clue because the Ravens, like, they're not really they haven't really impressed me with the way they win. Like they lost that Cleveland game. They lost to the Colts.
They lost to the Steelers.
They lost to the Steelers. Like they haven't really impressed, but there hasn't been any team that's really impressed. I think every single team can beat every single team.
Yeah.
Even the Panthers. The Panthers could find a way, like on God's green earth, some way, the Panthers could find a way, I think, to even beat San Francisco. If they catch them on the right week, at the right time, like some people are hurt, they could beat them. I can't believe in anything. I have no belief in anybody.
The NFL loves parity, and they generate it more than anybody else.
I mean, this is like especially if people love parity, like this is the perfect just football season in general, including college, because college, like they're even like you could make a case like Michigan. I think somebody tried to make a case that Michigan maybe couldn't be in the playoff, which is like crazy, but you could have made a case for it based on XYZ and how the committee does shit. So I think this is like the perfect year for parity lovers. I love parity, so this is perfect. I actually got into college football this year because of parity, more than I usually do, because I'm not really a big college guy. So, yeah. All right. Do a little wheel spin again. Did I erase? Oh, I didn't erase the AFC North. Okay. See, this is a little randomness. I like this. This isn't as you don't know what's coming next.
Yeah.
Oh shit! What do we do now? Another AFC North. There's no divisions. It's LOL Jets and Immaculate Grid. I guess we got to talk a little bit about the Jets. LOL Jets. They paraded around this week like they were a good team. Like Zach Wilson was like the GOAT again. This is the same cycle we do every year. We did it last year when he was playing against Green Bay. And I've said this. I'm starting to feel bad for Zach Wilson because he got drafted and put into a situation that has never been successful. Like the last successful quarterback with the Jets was Joe Namath. And I don't even think he was that successful. He's kind of mid. He threw more interceptions than touchdowns in his career, but we won't even jump into that.
Yeah.
But the Jets are just hilarious. They're so bad. They came in, they were like, we can beat the Dolphins. The Dolphins just lost to the Titans. It's like, no. You're not going to.
You're not even going to score a point, bud. you just can't measure up. Yeah, no, the Jets are they're a confusing team. Like when you sit there and you think about how stacked their defense is and the people they brought in on the offense, it's really odd that just one player was going to make the difference, and that being Aaron Rodgers. I
Yeah,
don't
I
I
mean,
don't know how anybody in New York just immediately thought Aaron Rodgers fixes everything.
I'm gonna say this. I don't think Rodgers fixes everything.
I don't
I
think
don't really think that team would have. I mean, they obviously would have been better, right? Like we can't deny that. I don't think they would have been as perennial AFC contenders as we think.
yeah. Well,
Not even
yeah.
close.
No, I mean, you could kind of see a little bit of Rodgers' arm maybe dissipating last year. You assume that trend would continue unless stem cells are involved. There's not a lot that the Jets do very well. They beat teams this season that they have no business beating,
Mhm.
and they're in games that they have no business being in.
They lost to the Patriots.
Yeah,
Like, I get they have the curse, but they lost to the fucking Patriots.
yeah, and they beat the Bills. And did they beat the Chiefs, or did they just have a close game?
No, they played it real close. That was when Mahomes did the little slide thing, and then he flipped the
Oh,
ball in the
yeah,
air, and everyone was like so mad about that. I was like, I don't know, dude. He literally just won the game. Like,
yeah, that's right.
he's allowed to do that.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I mean the Jets this season. First of all, the Jets fans, if you exist, why? Like, I would imagine being a Jets fan is on par with being a Lions fan for like the better part of the last 60 years. Why is it? You just hate yourself and you just
You
want to be
know,
pissed off on Sundays?
it's even crazier to me that because the Lions have always just been like the perennial losers, and like they always just lose. Like they don't just like they're not just mid, or they don't like really give you a real shot. They just lose, and that's like their identity in the NFL. It almost shocks me that Woody Johnson is still the owner there, because the Jets are supposed to be like this New York team, the bright lights. You know, they're like Joe Namath obviously was Broadway Joe. Like they have this like high and mighty identity about what the Jets are.
Yeah,
And then the NFL just lets Woody Johnson run them into the ground, just keep running him into the ground. Like if I was Roger Goodell, and I know this will never happen. This is obviously like a crazy. This doesn't make sense logistically. For some reason, I feel like I have to say that now on the internet because people don't understand what like sarcasm or just imagining is.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
if I was the NFL and I'm Roger Goodell, I'd be like, Woody, you got to sell the fucking team. Like you clearly don't have the ability to run a team whatsoever. I'd say the same thing to David Tepper anyways. But I mean, they
yeah.
could probably pull a Jim Irsay and get Johnson out, just like Irsay got the Commanders owner out. What the hell was his name?
Oh,
His name already left my brain because
yeah,
he's gone.
yeah.
I don't even remember his name. Can't even remember.
The runner up of the sexual assault charge of the year,
Who was the winner?
Sean Watson.
Was that this year?
The verdict was, or
The,
not
the Sean
verdict.
Watson verdict?
It wasn't a verdict because he didn't go to. I don't think either one of them went to court.
No, I think the FBI raided the Commanders' facilities though. I heard.
Yeah,
I don't know. Either way, he's like the runner up of sexual assault of NFL.
Yay! He's
There's
second.
a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah, yeah. He was just doing it and paying people to shut the hell up about it.
Yeah.
The old Vince McMahon.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I don't want Jets fans. The Jets fans feel too bad about themselves already. I want to get off of it just because I kind of feel bad about it.
Well, hey, here's a bright nugget for Jets fans.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Rodgers, his activation window is now open.
I think that's not even a bright spot because then they're just like, why even bring him back? They're like, we're not going to the playoffs.
I don't know. Maybe you just like seeing old people get hurt or something. I don't know.
he's. I mean, they put him in at linebacker. Did you see that story? They put him in at linebacker this week.
That's hilarious.
Why? That is so irresponsible. That would be so Jets. Breaking news: Aaron Rodgers tears his Achilles again playing linebacker in practice.
Jets practice.
in a scrimmage. Like,
Attaboy.
what? How can Robert Saleh, like, I honestly don't know how he's gonna have a job after this, especially after not getting a real backup quarterback, not Zach Wilson.
Yeah.
Because like Gardner Minshew, real backup quarterback, and the Colts are 8-6 and well in the playoff race right now.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't even know I don't know what to say about the Jets. It's LOL Jets. That's just what we say. LOL Jets. All right. Get me. I would really just love to talk about these other teams. Come on, Wheel. Be nice to me. Be nice to me. Come on, baby.
Come on, stop.
Oh, no Taylor Swift. NFC East. The NFC Beast. It just needed a little bit more of a spin to cover the NFC East. Let's see. What do we got here? Who do we have? No Lions, Broncos. Saturday is done. Thursday is done.
Rams beat the Commanders.
Good. Oh, Giants Saints. That's the first one. They played at 1. The Tommy DeVito's agent is in the Italian American Sports Hall of Fame now.
Oh, really? That's awesome.
For this. Apparently he's actually been the agent for a lot of people. This is his first time he's actually gotten some recognition, because when I saw that I was like, what is the threshold to get in the Italian American Hall of Fame? Do you just have to have like 1 million views on a social platform or something?
I'm famous.
Is that all? Like they honor him? They're like, hey, he's a part of the family. He's a part of the family, you know?
Are Mario and Luigi invited? Anyway.
Well, they're plumbers. I don't know. The Italian American Blue Collar Hall of Fame. They're in the Italian American Blue Collar Hall of Fame.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair.
Congrats to Mario and Luigi as well.
Shouts.
Shout outs. I don't think DeVito went down, and then Tyrod Taylor came. There was nothing fun about this game. We don't really have to talk about this game at all.
Here's something, a little nugget. Tyrod Taylor was the first African-American quarterback to win a football game wearing a Giants uniform.
Can we cancel the New York Giants?
No, the NFL already canceled them.
By making them never win?
Yes. It's the Eli Manning
New York Giants, low-key racist.
I mean, they had opportunities. I mean, Geno Smith was there for years.
There's the clip right there. There's the clip. New York Giants racist. No, congrats to Tyrod Taylor. That's awesome. That is awesome. He's in the record books now. His first record, the first player to be knocked out of a game because of a punctured lung from a team doctor. Setting records every week or every year. Congrats to Tyrod Taylor.
He's got a gift, you know.
Yeah. There was nothing fun about this game. Let's just move on. This game is gross, disgusting, horrible.
Saints won 24-6.
Saints somehow won. I mean, I feel like the Saints just kind of win by default because of the team. When they win by default because like there's no way they should lose, but they don't actually win the game. That's Saints brand football. Dennis Allen's getting fired. He has to. Commanders, Rams. Again, stinker, gross. I know the Commanders like tried to play football at the end of this game. They gave their hardest.
Nice.
But the Rams are low key good. They're like they're better than expected, I guess. And Kyron Williams, good for this kid. Holy shit. He's just
for real
putting up numbies.
Hopefully they don't Todd Gurley him to death.
Oh yeah.
But that kid's got a bright future. I'm excited for the Rams.
Kids these days forget about Todd Gurley. They do.
Yeah, they do. Todd Gurley was the man for like 5 years.
He was like a premier back for 5 years in the NFL, and he just gets no credit for it whatsoever.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'm not mistaken, he was like never in trouble. You would never hear his name in headlines, like bad headlines either. He was just a quiet guy.
Dude was chill. He
was a monster. Yeah.
Here's another little fun nugget for you. Sean McVay is 37 years old.
Yeah.
Still the youngest head coach in the NFL. He's had that moniker for 6 years.
What about McDaniel?
Huh?
What about McDaniel? How old's McDaniel?
38.
Damn.
Yeah.
Steichen? No, Steichen's got to be 40, I think.
Yeah.
D'Amico Ryans? No, I guess he's got to be 40. He looks great for 40. D'Amico, holy shit.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, he could be 20, he could be like 30 right now.
Yeah, for real.
D'Amico, come on the show. We'd love to have you.
Hell yeah. That'd be dope.
Damn, that's crazy. All right, let's see. Final game. Eagles, Seahawks. I picked the Eagles to win this game because last week was the Seahawks like season. That was like we need to win this game to basically save our asses. It's going to be really tough for them, I think, to make the playoffs at this point, especially that you have the Eagles. The Eagles coming off some really emotional wins and losses. It's just really emotional. I think they've been disrespected a lot. I think they're like, I think Jalen Hurts is going to play in whatever game because he's sick. Apparently he's sick. He's got the sniffles. I don't know what he has, but I think he's going to play, and I think they're going to tear the Seahawks apart. The Seahawks, I feel like their energy is just after that loss, especially the way they kind of lost. DK getting into that fight. They spent all of their emotion on that game because they knew they needed to win that.
Yeah.
And it was almost like that with Dallas. But Dallas was like, okay, we got one more shot against San Francisco. So I'm seeing Seahawks in this game. No problem. The Eagles in this game. Yeah. No problem.
Okay. Yeah. I think the Eagles will win this game pretty handily. They need it. They need it a lot more than the Seahawks do at this juncture. As you mentioned, the road forward for the Seahawks this season is incredibly difficult, and they're relying on other people to fail, and that's never a position you want to be in. Your ideal position is you want to be able to dictate your own season. Especially around this time of the year, you don't want anybody else to have to win or lose or tie. You just want to play well enough to the point where week 16, you're thinking about clinching a playoff spot.
Mm-hmm. The Eagles the Seahawks still have, after this Eagles game, they have the Titans in Tennessee, which, again, we saw not an easy game for anybody. The Steelers, who could also be fighting for a winning record. We know Tomlin. We know what Tomlin does when he's fighting for a winning record. And then the Cardinals, who very much were in that game in San Francisco or against San Francisco today. They were very much there. I don't care what the final score was. They were in almost all games. So not an easy road. I mean, obviously they'll be out of the worst part of their schedule. They just played the Rams, the 49ers, the Cowboys, the 49ers, and then they'll play the Eagles. So they're on the outside of it, but it's still not like easy going forward either.
Yeah.
So, good luck. Good luck to Seattle. You're gonna need it.
Yeah, for real.
Okay. All right. Next one here. What is it? 109. Whoops. Okay. All right. Give me big money. Oh, Taylor Swift. Couple minutes on Taylor Swift. I love that she's actually becoming a real football fan now. This is awesome. Like she's like saying she's like screaming like the fuck, like how every single football fan would. It's awesome. At first I was like, oh, this is cool. Taylor's getting into it. And then I was like, okay, enough. Stop. Like it's getting to be a little too much. They're putting up graphics with Taylor Swift now. Now I'm all the way back around because now it seems like she actually gives a shit. And she like somewhat knows what's going on. Like she could tell what a pass interference somewhat was. I mean, Travis Kelce flopped on one play and she was like, come on. But she kind of knows what a PI looks like now, which is like, that's good. So I'm back fully in on Taylor Swift. 10 minutes. Okay. All right. What do you got on Taylor?
While I haven't been able to keep up with her Kansas City ongoings, I have an employee at work that is obsessed with her, and she keeps showing me all these videos of all the Swifties out there in the world who are slowly starting to digest football for the first time. And one, that's awesome. That's dope.
Yeah.
We're bringing in new people. All these little girls are now like, "Hey, Dad, let's watch the game," which means hopefully less hoes. But, but so I think it's a net positive for the planet, actually. So I've also gotten out of my Taylor fatigue, and I'm coming back around.
Yeah, absolutely. It's awesome. Great to see Taylor. Taylor actually like
Just
caring.
not too much.
Yeah,
Like there's that one like fucking credit card commercial that she always does, like Venture Capital One or something,
something like that. Yeah.
and they play it at nauseum, and I hate it.
Yeah. All right. Do another spin here. We should be close to done, I think. AFC South.
There it
You
is.
you were there. Let's let you cook.
So I was at the Titans Texans game this afternoon. It was pretty palpable, the energy in that stadium. You got a lot of history and a lot of hatred for the adoption of a history that is associated with another city. Um, so a lot of animosity, but I didn't see any of that in the crowd. There was nobody being, you know, shitty to me because maybe it's because I'm a larger guy. I don't know, but um, the first quarter, the Titans fans were about as into it could possibly be. And by the end of it, they were screaming, "F you, refs. Refs, you suck. Fire Tim Kelly." Um, the Houston Texans were able to do what they've never done against Derrick Henry. And I actually want to get this right for statistical reasons. Derrick Henry had 16 carries for a total of 9 yards. Yeah. When I tell you the Houston Texans defense came in today ready to just beat down on Derrick Henry, that's exactly what they did. That game was physical as all hell. Christian Harris played his ass off. He was all over the field. They had him doing like a flat curl zone a lot, and they threw it to Derrick Henry 4 times. At one point, it was 4 times. Hold on, let me double check. Threw it Derrick Henry. Yeah, he had 4 receptions for 1 yard.
Mm-hmm.
Christian Harris tackled him on every single reception, tackled him on a couple of the runs. We had people in the backfield so fast, Derrick Henry couldn't even process what the play was by the time he was getting tackled. I've never seen him get tackled so frequently for 4-yard losses. This was by far and away the only path to victory with Case Keenum or Davis Mills at the helm for the Texans. They had to stop Derrick Henry. They had to make Will Levis beat them, and they had to get pressure on him to make his life hell. They got 7 sacks today. They did that, and they beat up on Will Levis at the most crucial times. We started off this game down 13-0 very quickly, and throughout the rest of the game, you could just feel the temperature shift in the room. And the Texans got a couple, I don't want to call it fluky, but there's a Dalton Schultz catch that the Titans defender is about to intercept, and he just steals it from him and gets us in a first and goal situation afterwards. That was huge. There was those kind of type plays all day. Devin Singletary ran around, through, and over every single Titan he could possibly do and tried to end the game in overtime without having to deal with a field goal. But there was a holding call. So Titans fans, I think that there's a lot to look forward to in the future for the Titans. It's going to take some more offensive linemen, but and eventually a true number one, because DeAndre Hopkins is only there for a short period of time. But there's a bright future in Tennessee. The Texans winning though, resiliency and nobody had an ounce of quit. When the good Lord made them, they didn't put the quit in them, and they showed every ounce of no quit today. Hats off to the Texans defense. Jonathan Grenard, 2.5 sacks, huge.
Okay, I'll say one thing on it, and I kind of got to be quiet, but got to bring back the Oiler uniforms full time. It's disgraceful that we don't have that 24/7. The Titans unis are gross. All right, moving on. Falcons Panthers. Absolutely nothing to say about this game. This game is horrible, disgusting, gross. It was raining, nothing. The only thing I said is, and this is a dumb take, and I know why you can't do it, but why don't struggling offenses just run up tempo? Just do that all game.
Yeah. I mean, the Titans were able to do it a few times, able to move the ball doing it that way.
Yeah. 49ers Cardinals. We kind of spoke on this game. I mean, the Niners put their foot on their throats, but the Cardinals hung in there. They're frisky. They're a frisky football team. I'll say that. Frisky.
Yeah, they're
good for a spoil. They're good for a spoil.
They're good for a spoil.
Especially for Seattle. Week 18.
Mark your calendars.
Yeah.
This Cardinals
final
team,
game. Yeah, final game, Dallas Buffalo. Good thing all these games sucked. The Bills. Okay, the Bills might be back. And the Cowboys, I guess it's not that much of a shock that they did that because of all the emotion from the past 2 games they've had. Beating Philly and Philly, like stepping on their throats, and then playing like a real close game with Seattle. Like they were due for a letdown somewhere. I'm not discounting what the Bills did, though. The Bills looked dominant. Bills looked like scary. They're scary.
Yeah, the Bills were able to impose their will, and the Cowboys had no answers whatsoever.
Yeah, absolutely not. Okay, well, that's it. Thank you so much, Curtis, for jumping on.
Thanks, brother. Always a pleasure to come on.
I guess a little show notes. We might, because we're expanding some things, we might be expanding to 2 to 3 episodes a week. So, yeah, we might be seeing a lot more of Curtis on this show. I'll say that. But make sure to go to his page, Curtis Podcast Network, like, subscribe, comment, go follow him on Twitter, on Threads, on all the social medias that he has. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment, share this podcast episode, and we'll see you next week.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me, brother.
Yep.